solve the problem, and eventually I think that's the motivation behind SA5. I understand every single one living in this country should deserve an equal opportunity of education. Nothing wrong about it, and everyone in this room, I believe, all of us support that. But the way to retrieve the goal is totally different. I don't think, just like you said before, push some people down and try to show now I'm a little bit taller than other people is the right way of doing that. Rather than that, if we do not think about only just the UC system, do not think about the elite education system, we think about what is the root, what is the cause of this problem. And we should trace all the way back to our fundamental education, to our K-12. If any of the senators, any of the politicians, they want to do something to help the people in the poor, what they should do. And they should go back to those kids' poor childhood and look at or seek the so-called the equal education opportunity. Not just based on the color scheme to go back to the elite UC system to discriminate.
So far on that. And what's your take about the education line cut at the high school level? What's the difference between the two?
Well, what's the difference between high school education and elite education? I think the main difference is, determines what kind of job you're going to get and what kind of future you're going to get. We all know the entrance level for any, basically, for example, for BFA, we do have high school graduate, but at the same time, 4 of us here, or actually 3 of us here who works in Bank of America, we have at least master degrees, and then, or pure master degrees, and then Mr. Gu has PhD degrees, maybe you have PhD, But we spend years of study, education, efforts in learning things, and then which benefit us in our career pursuit, and then we're able to, we try our best, and nowadays we achieved certain level of achievement in our career path, and then that was given by the education, the elite education we get, and a high school graduate cannot achieve this much. I'm not saying not all the high school education cannot do that. There are always smart job ups. You can talk about Bill Gates, but not everyone is Bill Gates, right? Education gives average person a chance to grow in their life, to make a good living.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Because in terms of a popular education, you're talking about everybody gets a piece of pie, right? And then to a certain point, when you reach the elite education zone, it is you are entering an arena. You are entering a competition. It's the academic scores, academic performance that counts, right? What's your take on that?
Yeah, actually, I even want to go even a step further. So, actually, elite education to me is not just a university level, because actually there is plenty of data shows that at least based on the data released in 2010, among all the public universities in California, actually the student body does reflect the general population. So that means that Asian accounts for about 13 to 14% of all the universities in California. Of course, that includes the community university, Cal State University, and the University of California. So those only, to me, the two most selected schools like UC Berkeley and UCLA, those are the elite schools. And for those schools, they should maintain their academic competitiveness. And by doing that, what they have to do, they have to enroll most talented kids among all the races. You should not just lower your bar, to get those students are not qualified to get in, and you enroll them. And actually, there is a data shows that if you get them in, because I don't know if all the audience is familiar about Proposition 209. That proposition is the opposite of this act.
Of course. They think the SA5 tried to overturn 209.
Right.
209 was the one once fixed the California problem.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
You want to go back to the previous days, the dark days prior to 209. What's your take on the cut thing? So to me, even though the student body in certain schools does not reflect the population being 13 or 15%, they are higher though. But still, it's a fact. Am I right? We were earlier talking about it. They are human. As long as they are human, we're okay.
to me, education K to 12 is for everybody, right? Everybody has the right to get education. The higher education, college, universities, those are really for more competitive students.
Yeah.
We have to set a bar because, you know, think about the budget constraint California is facing right now. The pie is this big, right? And I don't think the pie will grow bigger anytime soon. So especially for those elite universities, UCLA, UC Berkeley, right? You can't think about, you know, the enrollment is for everybody.
Every classroom has a certain size.
Exactly.
It holds this, right? Holds A or B or C or whatever. You try to lower the standard to let somebody in, somebody has to go out. Right?
If my kids come back home with a cat hanging low and tell me, Daddy, I cannot compete with my classmates, advice I would give them is always do that. If you cannot be an A student, if you cannot go to UCLA, UC Berkeley, there are plenty of opportunities out there for B students and C students.
Sure, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely, yeah,
You
absolutely.
can go to UC, you can go to Cal State, you can go to community colleges.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people can be equally successful even without a college degree.
It is so clear, as a representative, you should make it clear to your constituents, understanding their understanding about the popular education is the education that has a target of making everybody, quote unquote, educated, basically. And then about that are the arena. You get in to compete yourself against the competitors to make sure that you stand out as a outstanding person. If you fail, you fail. If you succeed, you succeed. There is no guarantee.
I think I just follow Kai-Jun's point of view, and to me, I think SCA5 proposed by Mr. It's a no creative.
Hey, Dr. Hernandez, let me correct you. Dr. Hernandez, right?
Oh my God.
Who was enrolled at the moment not by having SA5 to lower the standard. He was an elite himself.
Exactly, and to me, I think there are two ways to solve the problem, right? People talk about redistributing the cake. If the cake size is still the same. But to me, if Dr. Hernandez wants to be creative or want to represent his degree, doctor, he should be more creative to think about what is the way to make the size of the cake bigger. And I think that would be an even better way to solve the problem. Unfortunately, he's not on the right track.
Well, actually, another thing I want to say, we keep talking about the size of the cake. I mean, the size of the cake is not the same all the time. It has been increasing all the time because the population has been increasing. Yeah, and then we cannot just say, okay, because I want a bigger piece, so I have to take yours. And just to respond to his point, you have to keep thinking about enlarge the size of the cake rather than taking other people's cake, especially if other people devote so much to make their cake even better. You cannot just say, okay, I want the sweeter cake because I have different skin color maybe, or because I have more people in my group, and we just want more. That's called robbery.
And then, on the other hand, because somebody wants to vote, right? And then, let's do a little favor, okay? Come on here. So, I call those not our representatives. There better be some political performance, that kind of stuff. Because your benefit not supposed to be on the treaty board. Let's take a short moment now. When we come back, we'll find